Welcome to the In My Opinion Show with Ronald Robinson and friends, seen on the internet 24 hours a day. To view our shows, please go to YouTube, all right, and type in capital letters RBRIMO. I want to welcome our millions of viewers worldwide, but especially I want to welcome our very talented co-host, Miss Denise Smith-Allen.
Hi, Ron.
Hi, Mr. Henry Hatter.
Hi, Ron. Happy Easter, Denise. And
thank you.
Happy,
That's good enough.
Risen. Christ is risen.
Yes.
Two presidential candidates are not what America needs or wants. We have Ted Cruz. He says America should, with police and army, police Muslim communities. Donald Trump says ban all Muslim immigration to the U.S. Only Catholics. Denise, any?
What you just said, it sounds ludicrous and it sounds totally unbelievable, but yet coming out of the mouths of those two individuals, it's not surprising. I think that the presidential debates and everything have been reduced to an all-time low. I'm saying probably a lot of what a lot of people have been feeling. We do have certainly a segment of our society who probably disagree. But I'm speaking for those of us who are thinkers and understand that you're talking about the human race and the fact that you have individuals that live in the United States who do not all look alike, and they certainly are not all have the same cultural backgrounds. And I think we should take a look at history and look at the fact that we've already kind of gone down this path before. When you think about the Second World War, where we interned Japanese citizens here in this country, and that was a very bad size, very bad thing. And I mean, we're talking, this is local or most recent history, I should say. To go back down that path is just egregious. It saddens me to think that people would even espouse that kind of hatred and just getting people all riled up emotionally, and to me, again, I believe it's also a diversion because economically, we have had some positive things happen in this country. However, we do know that still there are people who are suffering. And when people are suffering, they become angry and they become afraid. And so stoking those fears does not help us at all. We need to be talking about plans, and we need to be talking about what's going on here in the country from an economic standpoint, on a national level, and being able to also look at from the international level, how can we bring jobs back here and do some things that will be helpful to the American people. This is not helpful. I do understand that people have fears, but we need not to stoke those fears. So that's my opinion.
Well, these two certainly are stoking the fears, okay? I mean, Islamophobia, racism. And I just pray that neither one of them gets elected, all right, as president of the United States, the greatest nation and most powerful nation in the world. What I don't understand is Trump espouses, let's make America great again. I don't know where he's coming from, with that, other than from what you're saying, to stoke the fears, of the American public. And this is not, and that calamity that they pulled on national TV, people have seen around the world, okay, lowers, in my opinion, and I'm sure my opinion is shared by hundreds of millions of folks out there, that it lowers the prestige, of this great nation. Mr. Hatter, what is your thoughts?
Well, Ron, I have a more positive view of that. I don't think there's anything unusual about this race that wasn't there in 1789. As a matter of fact, Alexander Hamilton was killed as a result of putting together a perfect document that passed on to us that make us who we are today. And I'm glad to hear you say that this is the greatest country in the world. But I want to see more of you live that, embrace it. Just don't give it away. When you say that other countries are better than ours, and we can't protect our borders because of Islamophobia and all of that stuff, you are dividing and you're conquering. You're taking away from ideas and ways to make us great again through collaboration, through working with each other, through believing in us. Because most of us don't have belief that the democracy should survive the way it's going right now. And we're close to probably losing our democracy. Something else has to take place because government has to maintain control. I believe that Donald Trump is maybe just all air in some of the things that he says. And it's unfortunate to attack Cruz's wife. Now, to me, if he did it, and I have no idea whether he did it or not. They say that he did, but I don't like that. And I criticize Republicans a lot. When they deserve to be criticized, I criticize them. I don't run blindly, And we need our Democrats to help keep the balance. I believe that Ted Cruz sometimes gets a little acid in the way he talks to Donald Trump. And I believe that they do. But in nature, you take a look at the nature of these two men that are running for, and Mrs. Clinton is another one. She's a toughie. She's right in there with her. She is spreading her elbows and wings, looking for space and jousting for position. Mm-hmm. And she's likely to be nasty too. And that's good, because what you will see come out of this election is a strong candidate. You won't have any weaklings there. People who can take a blow and give one, and that will stand up for the United States and defend it and make us a better nation. And we are becoming a better nation, by the way. Although, as you know, we have to face 2050. They're going to be tough times, and you haven't seen the tough times until you get that arithmetic and political shift.
I believe that the shift is already taking place. This is a process. We're not just going to arrive at 2050.
Yeah, sure.
The process is changing as we speak, and that's why when I talk about the stoking of the fears, it's because at this point there are a lot of people who do not feel. The majority population we know is shifting, and because of that, there are people who are fearful. They've been in control, and now they feel as though they've been losing control, and because of that feeling of loss of control, that's where the anger comes in, and that's where all of this hatred. When you have rallies, people have a right to assemble. They have a right to have a difference of opinions, but never has there been this kind of, when you go into a rally now where people are being attacked, and then the people who are supposed to be there to defend them stand back and let it happen. Now there is something wrong with that process right there. Well, and if you've got the person who is standing there saying, get him out of here, he needs to be punched in the face, saying those kinds of things, instead of talking about what are you going to do to make this country great? What are you going to do to get this country back on track? That's a diversion, and it's divisive. It is very divisive.
I understand your position, but I don't believe that when Trump says he'll punch him in the face, I believe that that was all talk. You have to do it first.
Yeah, it may be talk, right, and that's what he did.
You can't go and say, I'm going to punch somebody in the face.
He didn't say that.
You first.
Right. He didn't say that. But see, the thing about it is, in most of us who analyze and listen to whatever rhetoric is being presented, we also know that people speak in code. And so in his position, because he's speaking in that kind of code, you've got people who are all over the map in terms of the way they think, And so how dare a man who's walking somebody out, here he is walking out, and he didn't like the fact that the man gave him the finger, so he's going to punch him in the face? Actually,
the man was off of his own turf. He was not invited.
He didn't have to be invited.
Yes, you do. In a closed situation where you have Democrats and Republicans And besides, they don't advise you to go into one or the other and start a commotion.
This was a rally. You don't need to be invited to a rally.
Hey, you know what? He was out of place. And he was stirring the anger.
Okay, but guess what? Even if he was out of place, and even if he stirred the anger, he did not need to be attacked physically. There is no justification. There's no justification for physical aggression when you're dealing with that kind of a situation because, like I said, the person who was at the podium sets the tone. They set the tone. And all he had to do was calm them down and say, we're not having that today. No one is going to attack anyone. And I can assure you that man could have been walked out of there without that kind of assault.
I wish we had a phone so we can have people call in.
I wish we did too.
Them how much of this melee that was driven by Democrats.
No. We're not going to do that.
They set people in to start that. And I know how they work.
And the Republicans do the same thing.
Well, I'm not saying they don't.
Right,
there are agitators
And
from both sides.
The first time when he was down at Atlanta, guess what he did? The Democrats did. They sent in black kids. And you know they were easy to spot. And they started this commotion. And he says, get them out of here. Now, I wished that they hadn't done that. Because we need to rise among ourselves. We need people there, and we need people to hear the points that are being made, but not to go there and create a commotion.
Yeah, but when
you create an impression that echoes throughout the country about who you are, you're being profiled, even when you're making those kind of ugly. Taking those kind of ugly positions.
Well, isn't this what Cruz and Trump are doing? Profiling
no,
people.
This is a different kind of profiling.
All right, we got profiling is profiling, depending on what degree.
I could.
All right. Now, Trump stands up there on that podium. All right, talking about he's going to hit somebody in the face or this or that, whatnot, stoking the flames. All right.
That's minutia.
It may be
stroking the flame. What people talk, what people say, all right, a lot of times is what they do.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's minutia. The rest of it was about other things. He says, get him out of here.
Okay, but here's my question. After he said that, after he said, get him out of here, what substantive thing did he speak about in terms of domestic policy, in terms of foreign policy, if anything of substance? We don't hear any of that kind of stuff coming from him. He keeps talking about, I know people, I'm smart enough to figure this out, and he talks very, very vaguely about his position and what he's going to do to make America great again.
Now, you're criticizing these two individuals who are not addressing foreign policy and domestic policy and jobs and things like that. That's what a political campaign is all about. But can you get through it without having to go to those public issues, the things emotional issues that drive people mad? And that's all you have to do is talk about religion, race, gender, and...
Well, what are you saying? It makes sense, and that's what happened. He diverted the conversation, and instead of talking about something substantive, he's talking about the things that inflame people. Because people's religion and people's nationality and things of that nature is going to inflame some people.
Exactly.
But those kind of things don't evolve by themselves. You're coerced, and you're driven to act in a certain way. In groups.
These people should be presidential.
I agree.
Okay? 100% presidential if they want to represent, America. Not all of this talking about wives and this, and showing pictures of these candidates' wives on TV. Why this gets personal and emotional, all right? I'd go up there I'd slap the shit out of both of them. All right?
You might get punched in the face.
That's fine, okay? Because if somebody talked about, I'm not married, but if I were, okay, I'd go up there and slap the mess out of them.
I understand
Okay.
how volatile that
Because that's
can be.
emotional.
Yeah.
Right, and
You
see,
know what
and
I
then
mean?
and of course you get some kind of, like you said, some kind of response. And so talking about that, you think, okay, so Trump, and like I said, what he's doing to me is not good. But on the other hand, his son receives a mail with something that looks like anthrax, and they said next time it may be, or something like along those lines. And then they go in and they start looking at all of his personal data. You know what I'm saying? So this thing becomes much, much broader, much, much bigger, and it creates extra problems because you don't know the person who goes in and does that kind of technology. You don't know if they're doing that here in the United States or if it's coming from abroad. So, like I said, this whole thing has taken a turn that it shouldn't be taking because, we have President Obama, who is an elegant statesman. He speaks about things and he has dealt with the gamut. And he has never, to us, the American people, lost his cool, said anything derogatory in front of the press that is going to be used in that manner. Whereas these men have reduced this thing to Maury Povich.
These are alpha males.
I don't care if they're zebra males.
hang on.
My point is
But
that
President Obama is, like you say, very elegant.
yes,
He will become a great president. And he doesn't have to act that way. He's president of the United States. He's like God.
he did.
Now, and he acts that way.
He started
himself
out that way.
I don't know whether he started out that
Well, I'm saying to
because
you
you're
that
driven by political bodies.
you're driven, but you're also who you are as a person.
Yes.
You are who you are. And we already know the information that has been communicated to us about Donald Trump, that he's had some issues, that he had to be placed in a military school because he was a wayward child. His father, Fred Trump, said, I've got to do something about this one because everybody's family has at least one person in there that needs to be taken into some type of control. So there were some issues there with him all along.
Now you're saying the president, this guy is crazy.
I'm saying that the record says that there were some issues. I'm not saying anything about,
Yeah,
I don't know him like that.
Donald-
I just know what I see.
You know Donald Trump as a political candidate. Donald Trump.
But I read and I look at what's going on
This is the
here.
first time you've ever seen Donald Trump out of character.
No.
Like this, you never. If this is not out of character, which I do believe he's out of character, I do believe that, and I wish he would tone it down. I think I would send him a personal letter and tell him to tone it down because when people, but as we have already talked about this, Donald Trump was saying things that American people wanted to hear. Now, I think he's taken it out about as far as the elasticity to take it. Now he needs to back off a little bit. But the American people want a person that can make decisions and doesn't have to try to please everybody. Make a decision that fits the country, that keeps us strong, powerful nation.
But then why doesn't he do that? Why doesn't his handlers?
Can't get to it without all of the
why doesn't his handlers do that?
Well,
all right.
I can't say what-
look, Donald, no more of this foolishness. All right. You want to be president of the most powerful nation in the world? Then act presidential.
Now, here's one thing that you guys are missing. Now remember, look at all of the people that's against Donald Trump. The political party, the Republican Party, okay? He's got that to deal with. He's got the Democrats. He's got Mrs. Clinton. He's got all of the blacks and the Mexicans and the Arabs. All those foreign people that are against him, okay? Hang on.
So what does that tell you?
No, hang on. But what he's doing is representing the rank and file of Americans.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
No.
And his popularity is still growing. But he also has picked up Arabs, blacks, in small numbers, and Democrats, independents, all of them. He has the largest variety of Americans now that we've ever seen drive a political election.
But all of that is starting to fade.
Well, I think
Okay.
what you say, and I don't doubt that, but I think
And rightly
he needs to
so.
tone it down. He'd be a good candidate if he just back off of the criticism.
You know,
Why do you say that he would be a good candidate?
Because he is.
Because he would make some decisions? I'm afraid for his decisions, and quite frankly, I can't even imagine the military following his lead. Because I can't imagine that.
He's the
He would be the chief executive officer of the military. However, as brash and irrational as he sounds, it would be very hard. I could see a coup happening here.
Absolutely.
A coup in the United States, no.
Just because
Why not?
Just because it hasn't happened.
Into moving out of a democratic, safe democracy could happen. A transition out of it. Mm-hmm. But a coup, that would be difficult.
I don't know. Listen, in my lifetime, and I haven't been here forever, but in my lifetime, I've never seen the political process be placed in such disarray.
You didn't live here during slavery, did you?
I said I haven't been here forever.
In 1860, between 1860 and 1865, we had the same kind of stuff as we had in 1776 to 1789. The very same.
No, it wasn't.
Suddenly, the only difference is that we're multicultural now, and the people out of the part of the population are different and diverse and have different beliefs. So they're all tugging at the power that's within the government to shift it in their direction, to be more favorable to them. And we're going to continue to have this until 2050, and we get definitive realignment of people in this country that will sit down and decide if they still have the. But Donald Trump's attitude can't be there. But we got to have people who can want to preserve the country with a free and democratic, as a free and democratic society. That's what we want to do. We don't want to move the country in any other way. And it's best for all of us as minorities to live in a constitutional government, because that's what protects us.
Oh, I understand that. I understand that clearly. But right now, it seems like they're making it up as they go along. Mm-hmm. Because right now, the Republican Party is concerned. If he gets those numbers, then of course they have to make a decision about whether they're going to endorse him. And right now, they're trying to figure that out. There've been some additional meetings.
If the Republican Party survives.
Yeah. Well, but come on now. My thinking, of course, like I said, I believe it's one party. Okay, there's two entities, yes, but there's one party. Okay, and it's the party of the oligarchy. Okay, those that have the means control this United States. So I'm clear about that. Okay,
I'm not so certain.
I'm pretty certain. Anyway, the thing that is so disturbing right now is that all of this diversion is taking away from the fact that there are still many, many people who are not living very well. Financially, emotionally, and other means. They just don't have it. Okay.
Let me address this oligarchy thing. Donald Trump is a billionaire.
Yes, he is.
So is Soros.
So is who?
Soros. George Soros.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
The Democrat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. There are many people like these people, and they don't all agree. Mm-hmm. They don't agree with Donald Trump. A lot of them are estranged from Donald Trump. Mm-hmm. But Donald Trump says, I can't be dictated to by rich people, or by poor, or by blacks, or whites, or Jews, or whatever. Mm-hmm. I'm Donald Trump. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to lead the country the way it's supposed to be led. That's what he says. But
it didn't even sound right.
And these people you speak of are not on national stage either, Taylor.
But look at it.
Henry.
When you said the oligarchy, where is it?
It's the 1%. What are you talking about? That's the 1%.
The oligarchy is the people elected to Congress. They're the ones that make the rules.
The 1%. I don't see a poor congressman over there.
Well,
congressperson.
That's for sure.
They're not one. Not one.
Should they be poor?
Listen. They once they get in there.
But should they be poor?
Listen.
No.
Listen to me.
Explain this to the American people. Should our congressmen, should our elected officials be poor?
Why not?
Many of them came from humble beginnings. Okay, many of them came from humble beginnings, and I get that. But once they cross that line and they receive the kind of power and influence that they have gotten, they don't want to give that up. They don't want to give that up, and they're going to maintain the order, whatever that order is, so that they can maintain that influence until they get booted out or they die in office.
Well, who's guiding it? Yeah, okay, now you say this is in a process, but there's got to be a central theme. They have to know, take directions or see a vision or a plan with rules and regulations, and who's driving that?
Listen, they have...
Or do they spontaneously?
No. We still have
Where's the
government.
oligarchy?
We still have government. We still have rules and stuff like that. And those things are being maintained influence from the bottom up.
That's the poor people.
Yeah, that's poor people and those people who have seemingly some kind of control over their local government and things of that nature. But again, as it moves into another strata, there's a whole group up there that have nothing to do with what's going on down here. Have nothing to do with it other than to say, you all stay in your place and we're going to take care of us and maintain our financial influence as well as our control of the entire world system.
But the Constitution still works and it protects all of American people. And from
To a
top
point.
to bottom, all benefit from it. So you can't say that it's just an oligarchy and we're not driven by the Constitution, because we are.
With
We're
that,
stratified.
it's been a wonderful conversation. But Mr. Hatter, you write that letter to Mr. Trump, okay?
Okay.
Don't forget.
I promise you, but I will.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. And we're going to hold you to it, too.
Okay.
Okay. And I hope for our millions of viewers, don't elect Trump or Cruz. This has been a great conversation. This is Ronald Barry Robinson and friends saying for the In My Opinion show, stay focused.